Something that really holds many new plant-based dieters back from staying the course with this nutrition approach is beans. They have all sorts of digestive, gas, bloating issues when they eat beans, maybe a little bit of flatulence as well, of course. And so it really puts them off, let's say, because of the discomfort that it causes. So in this video, I just want to share with you guys a couple of brief tips to get over the bean issue, to work around it, let's say, for those just getting started. First point of note on this is, listen, if you've come from decades of eating a standard Western diet, you're perhaps not used to so much of this fiber. So it might not necessarily be solely beans, exclusively beans, that are causing you the problem right now. Filling your body, of course, with all of this fiber-rich plant food when you're not used to it, that's going to cause all sorts of issues in the gut, in the digestive system, in your bowels. Your bacteria, your microbiome community simply isn't adjusted to eat that food because it hasn't been eating that food in large quantities, let's say, for the past few decades. So if you're suddenly throwing this stuff into your body, of course it's going to cause a little bit of a problem. It's going to take a little while for your gut bacteria, your body, to get used to this new food that you're feeding it. So first point of note is, listen guys, give it 3 to 4 weeks. A lot of people that I speak to that have this bean issue or fiber issue causing all of these problems when they first start out, within 3 to 4 weeks, that problem is gone. That's the vast majority of people that I speak to. There's still quite a large clique of people that suffer after that. Here's my advice to you guys. Firstly, make sure you're preparing your beans in the right way, of course. This is really, really essential. So, number one is we want to rinse our beans. If we're having beans from a can, we want to rinse them, but if they're from a can, we can cook them straight away. That's a nice segue into the soaking discussion. Which beans do you soak? If you're using legumes or beans from dried, most of the time, I'll explain the caveats in a second, but most of the time you're going to need to soak them for around 8 to 12 hours, sometimes just overnight. There's all sorts you can do if you soak them in a little bit warmer water that's maybe been brought to the boil and then calmed down again. Maybe you can do it in perhaps half the time or so, but for most people, you need to soak them overnight, 8 to 12 hours, somewhere in that range. Once you've done that, you then need to rinse them down again. So you get rid of that water, you drain, you put them in a sieve, and you rinse again before you cook them. That's imperative. Soaking your beans is so important. When don't you have to soak beans? With the smaller legumes. So for example, red lentils, you don't have to soak those. You can cook those straight away from dried, believe it or not. Okay, they'll be good to go. But of course, I would advise, again, giving them a rinse in a sieve before you do that. Other little bit of advice, final bit of advice here, guys, I want to keep this short and sweet because I could go on about this subject all day, is you don't have to eat beans. You don't have to eat beans for a while. You could just reduce your intake of the beans if they're causing you rather that much of a problem, and then later on just reintroduce them ever so slightly in these kind of gradual increments. So maybe start with half a can at first, maybe move on to a full can a week later. Give your body, spit it out right, time to adjust to this new food that you're feeding it. Allow your gut bacteria, your bacterial community, to make the necessary changes. Another big tip with this is eat some fermented food as well. So with your beans, not necessarily with your beans, but something that really aids with the transition of your gut bacteria is fermented food. So tofu, which of course originates from soybean, the likes of kimchi, sauerkraut, kombucha. Have a couple of servings of these every week, these fermented foods, to allow your gut bacteria to change. You can also consider prebiotics and probiotics, but for some people I find that's not really necessary. So focus on the fermented foods, but don't be afraid of just getting rid of beans in your diet. A lot of people, they think that going plant-based beans are a huge staple. I suppose they are. They've been an absolute staple to me. But listen, you've got to start hacking and troubleshooting for you. So many people, the problem is they take these kind of plant-based templates out there, which these are wonderful resources, and I share many of them in my videos, books and programs and whatnot, but they never really tailor them to suit them personally. Adherence is really important. If you're stuffing a load of beans in your body, it's causing you all these problems. Are you really going to stay the course with the plant-based diet and see the amazing benefits it can yield for long? Of course not. Logically speaking, most people, even if you're super committed, super disciplined, you're probably not going to do it. Okay, it's a cost-benefit analysis, so you've got to hack these things. You've got to troubleshoot your nutrition habits for you personally. Think about what's best for you. So cut down on your intake of beans. Maybe you get rid of them altogether just for a couple of weeks, and then later on try and reintroduce them, but do it slowly. Don't suddenly start having 2 cans of beans a day. I know this stuff isn't rocket science, but this is seriously what people are doing. It sounds really simple in my mind, perhaps sounds simple to you guys at home, but so many people are sadly doing this. So that's it, guys. These are the important steps to get started with. Let me know the gas, bloating, digestive issues you're experiencing down below. Perhaps I can give you some further context and insight as well in the comment section. Let me know what served you well in this video right now. What are you going to start doing to solve your gas, bloating, and digestive issues on a plant-based diet? Is it beans that are causing you a problem or something else? Let me know down below. I'll see you in the next video. All the best.